All right, pardon me if we have a sad start to the show, but local hero is going home from Jordan. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM. WBAP, I hate doing this stuff. This is hard for me. I'm a guy who doesn't have, fully evolved adult emotions, so I don't deal well with death, especially when it's in our own backyard. WFAA has a terrible story.
We learned a North Texan has been identified as one of the service members killed in an Iranian attack on a military base in Jordan over the weekend. Private Isabella was just 19 years old and from Carrollton. Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, a 25-year-old from Hawaii, was also killed. But again, this is breaking news that we've learned just overnight that this is Isabella Gonzalez from Carrollton. She was killed in the attack there in Jordan.
Isabella Gonzalez. I looked at the picture of her in her uniform, and I know that's a uniform for an adult. I know they only give those to an adult. I know she's 19, so legally she's an adult, but she looked like a child. I just spent all weekend hanging out with my kids and their friends, and she looked like one of them. My oldest kid's 15. My kid's going to be that old in a couple years. He's about to turn 16. Do I want him in the military? Do I want him to get sent to Jordan? Now, if you support this war, you knew that this is the stakes here. In fact, you're probably slightly relieved that the number's not bigger. It wouldn't take much, but one or two good more missile blasts from Iran, we'd have dozens dead. I think we're maybe around 24 right now. But this is the what's going to happen in any war. It's just, I want you to think as an individual. I know if you had a magic wand or if you rubbed a lamp and genie came out, you say, I want Iran to not have nuclear weapons. But is it worth it if that was your kid? This is why I'm more anti-war than I think both anybody on Team Blue or Team Red. And I don't mean any of the voters out there. I mean capital R Republicans or capital D Democrats. They always want to do this. They always want to send our kids out there. Start crap on the other side of the world. Would you trade one of your kids if it meant Iran couldn't get a nuclear weapon? Because I sure as hell would not. And that's not even close. I hold the American military in high regard. My dad served in Vietnam. Gets a disability check from that. My grandfather served in World War II. Got shot in the face, wore a glass eye for the rest of his life. My great-grandfather fought in World War I. I'm like Lieutenant Dan, where there's someone in my family pretty much in every American military conflict. Not now, Garrett. But in this one, I kind of stopped it. I stopped the family tradition of going to war. And I don't know if I could have articulated it so well at the time. But I felt like the wars that we were doing now were a little bit different. The wars that we were doing when I was coming up in the 90s. It's just something overseas that you see on TV. Nobody's threatening us. Nobody's bombing us. Make no mistake about it. If a foreign army storms the Rio Grande, I'll go get a gun and hold a post tomorrow. But I don't know. I don't know how many people, if you support this war, would you really trade your kid? Your own kid, if it meant Iran, if that's what it takes for Iran to not have nuclear weapons? Because I think when the country was founded and families were asked, would you give up your kid to stop the British at Lexington and Concord? Would you stop it to sail across the Delaware River on Christmas and attack the Hessians at Trenton if it meant they might die? George Washington lost his only son, well, stepson. He didn't actually reproduce himself. But he lost his only heir to his throne in the war. You got to believe that most of the families that lost a family member in the Civil War believe what they were fighting for. I just don't feel that strongly about Iran getting a nuclear weapon that I'm okay with our kids dying for it. I know that they're evil. If they get a nuclear weapon, they're going to use it. They can't be trusted. They're dangerous. Yeah, I know. That's what we said about Pakistan before they got one. That's what we said about North Korea before they got a nuclear weapon. China has a nuclear weapon. I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I hope they don't get it. I'm okay with economic sanctions and international pressure and diplomacy, but sacrificing our kids for this, I don't see it. I'm not down with that. This is why I wouldn't have started this war in the first place. And I'm not going to give anybody a hard time if we just pull up stakes and get out right now. But that comes with the territory. I think this is part of the reason why I would never want to be president either. I don't ever want to give an order that causes someone else to die, whether it's an Iranian or a sweet little 19-year-old girl from Carrollton. I don't want that on my conscience. Trump was asked about this. He's on the tarmac. He had gone to the World Cup finals yesterday. He saw a press gaggle. He went up and talked to him for 4 minutes. First question he got after, he's like, yeah, it was a successful World Cup. Congrats to both teams. Everything went great. Best World Cup ever, yada, yada. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. Believe me. First question. At the time, we knew there were 2 dead from the Iranian counterstrikes over the weekend. This was his response.
It was a great event, yes. Well, we feel very badly, but you know, those great people, those great patriots were out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran has been very, very badly damaged. They've lost everything almost militarily. They've got very little left. They've got some missiles. They've got some drones. They've got some manufacturing ability, not much. We control the Strait. They don't control anything. So we'll see what happens. But we hit them very hard again tonight. And we did that in honor of the probably 3. It's probably 3 as opposed to 2 great patriots.
It's a beautiful young woman we lost, Isabella from Carrollton. She was with us until this weekend, and she gave her life serving you. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Are you rethinking this? Are you ready to just end this? Are you ready to just pull up? It's like, hey, we killed the Ayatollah. We wrecked shop. We showed them we meant business. Their uranium's probably under a mountain somewhere. If they're going to go dig it out from the granite there, we'll just watch them from the sky. But in the meantime, let's get the hell out of there. I don't want to lose another kid. I do not want one more empty seat this Christmas for a family in North Texas. 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, Colonel Wes Martin going to talk about the X's and O's and what we can actually accomplish from the air, and if there's going to be boots on the ground. I'm James Parker. Iran War updates next on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, we lost a local soldier in the Iran war. Isabella Gonzalez of Carrollton was killed in a strike over the weekend. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And, it's very hard to thread this needle. I understand that there's going to be losses in any military endeavor. I understand that that's the collateral damage to complete a military objective. And when I asked the question, would you give one of your kids in exchange for Iran never getting a nuclear weapon? Because I wouldn't. But Jason put a Facebook comment on here that I totally understand this too. Jason says, I bet them 3 soldiers would say keep going and finish. Imagine stopping because of 3 lost. The enemies would be laughing and calling us weak. Finish them, Trump. Look, I get that too. But look, 3 lost, if it's other people that I've never met, is different than your own kid. And so, I mean, that's the conundrum we have of any war. For me, it better be so cut and dry that I would be willing to sacrifice my own kid. And I don't think the Iran war reaches that metric for me. But I don't think you're a bad person if you disagree on this one. I don't know. I'm really feeling bad for the family over there, and I hope we get to accomplish everything that's set out, because that's a huge sacrifice. My next guest is Colonel Wes Martin, coming back on. Welcome back, Colonel Wes Martin. Of course, as a military veteran, you face the loss of life that just comes with the territory. On the positive side, Wes, if you would have told us 3 months, 4 months into this, we would have only lost maybe 20 people, I think we would have counted that as a good thing. Well, so are we still going to need boots on the ground to accomplish everything we want to accomplish? You know, I've read so many history books and podcasts and different accounts of war in the past, Colonel Wes Martin, and we're never going to see anything close to that again, where 2 armies just line up on the battlefield and try and kill each other. I mean, this is all like the old face-to-face, hand-to-hand. We've just slowly gotten further and further apart as the technology has progressed, and we don't even face our enemies anymore. sponsor a coup? Is that what you're calling? Yeah. Interesting stuff. All right, Colonel Wes Martin, thank you very much for keeping us apprised of the situation. The last count I have on U.S. killed in action is a range of 17 to 19. Can you confirm that on your end? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Colonel Wes Martin. That's the last piece of info I needed from you. All right, I've got some great calls lined up because the question of the day, now that we lost one of our neighbors here in an attack over the weekend, 19-year-old Private Isabella Gonzalez of Carrollton was lost. Would you still support the war if that was your kid? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, the Iran war hits home. One of our neighbors has passed away in Iranian strike over the weekend. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Private Isabella Gonzalez of Carrollton, a 19-year-old enlisted soldier, was killed as one of three over the weekend. She was at a base in Jordan, and there's now going to be an empty seat at her family's Christmas table, at her family's Thanksgiving table. The Gonzalez are probably going to put up a stocking for her this year, and then they'll probably do it again next year. And then I know what happens when you lose someone in your family. I know what happens, especially a young person. You wonder, how long do we keep putting the stocking up? Do I just do this forever? It's painful. The story's going to be over for you probably about the time the show's over. But for this family, there's going to be a hole in them until every single one of them is done with their flow on this earth. And the question just becomes, man, how bad do you support the Iran war? Now, I'm not saying you're a bad person. If you disagree with me, I totally understand. You think it's so important that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon, or we at least attempt Iran from stopping and getting a nuclear weapon, that you're willing to sacrifice a few Americans for it. Would you sacrifice your own kid? Because I wouldn't. And don't take my opinion with a bunch of weight here. I'm more anti-war than most of Team Blue and Team Red. I actually mean it when I say no more forever wars. Not, well, we've got to go into Afghanistan. No, now we got to go into Iraq. Well, now we got to support Ukraine. Well, now we got to fight Iran. Now we got to fight all of them. I'm already against the next war before it's even declared. Judging by some of the comments Garrett has put on the phone screen, some of these people are going to disagree with me. John in Hurst, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Yes, sir, Mr. Parker. I had a few things, but really I'm just imploring, I'm asking whatever you can do. Find out the information of when she comes in. Is she going to be, is it Love Field? Is it DFW? Is it Carswell Air Force Base? Is it the Davis? I can't remember what the Naval Air Station is. And is she going to be going to the Dallas Cemetery, or the Veteran Cemetery right up there off of 20 and 408 or something? I just think we should need to honor her. I mean, it breaks me up. She's an American, but ding dang it, she's a Texan, and everybody needs to get together. And if y'all need help organizing it, I guarantee you, I can get a whole bunch of Harley Davidson dealerships, and we can have a good ride for her. And let's honor her life. 19, God, but she was doing what she wanted to do. So I'm just asking you guys if y'all can find out any information, and if you want my number, I'll help organize it, and we can get. Let's show up like Texans.
Man, I like that idea. Yeah, and it's hard for me to not break up here. And I feel like I've gotten more soft as I got old. When I was 19, I was like, hell yeah, let's go to war. Let's go crack some skulls. Anybody who says death to America deserves a bomb up their backside. Now I look at that, I'm like, that was somebody's soulmate that isn't going to have a wife now. She was supposed to be in 10 years cranking out grandkids for her parents, and her parents, not only did they lose their daughter, they lost all of that future family, all of that downstream, like an entire branch of your family tree has been cut off. And I'm glad you take it as such a heavy thing. I appreciate that, John.
All I can say is hail the victorious dead. I mean, that's a famous quote. She died in the life of her, or in the whatever of her country. She did choose this, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
And I just think Texans need to show up. We show up like we let the world know that we care about our people.
I love that, John. A warrior's death is about the only most noble death we can offer these days. Let's go to Andy. Andy in Alvarado, you're next up on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Yes, sir. I just think you missed the boat on this. What really is happening here?
Go ahead.
You go back to 9/11, and a lot of people were quitting jobs and joining because they wanted to defend this country, and then turn around and go through more of Iraq and everything. Bush got beat up for it, but then you come through Obama years, and the military was depleted. Trump got elected, and more people started joining because they had a president who was going to back them, and then Biden inserted the DEI, and no man wants to be a part of that. But when Trump got reelected, and in 2025, last year they had the largest sign-up, the largest volunteer
enlistment
military
we've
ever had. Okay, so these people that are in there, this girl's 19 years old. She volunteered. She has not been in there that long. She volunteered to do this. My question to you is,
Yeah.
if your son comes to you at 18, 19 years old and felt that he was destined to go fight for his country, are you going to stop him?
Hell no, I'm not going to stop him. How are you
Okay,
coming
well,
away
you're
with
not
that?
You're not giving up your child. There is no draft. These are all
Agreed.
volunteers. These people are going out there and fighting for the country because they felt impelled to do something for us.
No one said anything to the
rest of
contrary.
us.
Andy, where's this coming from?
You're talking about you would not send your child. You do not want to send your child over there.
No. I didn't say
You're
I
not
wouldn't send my
sending a
child
nuclear
over there.
option.
Let me reiterate because I'm supposed to do a better job communicating. You don't sound dumb. I just did a bad job explaining to you, Andy. If there was a button you could push where it said, "Okay, James, you can push this button, and Iran will never get a nuclear weapon from now until the end of time," but it costs you one of your kids, I would not push that button.
Okay.
Would you?
No, I've never had any children. No.
Yeah. Your point stands. I'm sorry. I led you to believe something I don't believe. No. Joining the military is encouraged in the Parker family. In fact, I have two sons, two daughters. The younger son's thinking about joining one of the branches. I'm all for that. I realize if your kid joins, it's not a death sentence. It's like not even 1% of them are even faced with death. I get that. I'm sorry I didn't do a better job explaining myself, Andy.
Well, I turned 18 in 72. I was number 177 for the draft, and they slowed the draft down in February of 73, which you go with the next year. It goes to a lottery. They slowed it down in February, and it back and forth, and they cut it off completely in June. I never got called up. I had friends who had brothers that went over to Vietnam and never came back home. I have a stepson and a stepdaughter, and they call me dad. They're good kids. And the boy spent 22 years in the Air Force going in, knowing what he was up against. As far as he didn't want to go, and it was, right after 9/11. I mean, he knew what he was getting.
I hear you,
into.
Andy. Hey, thank you for calling because
Okay.
if you misunderstood, a bunch of other people did too, and I'm glad I got to clear that up. You did me a favor, sir. 800-288-9227. An Iran strike kills a local soldier. Isabella Gonzalez of Carrollton is now a hero. Is it worth it? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is pain getting in the way of your favorite sport? James Parker here for QC Kinetics. Listen, I don't know what it is. Do you play golf? Do you swim? Do you play tennis? I'll judge you a little bit if you play pickleball. But if you have some pain that is getting in the way of your favorite activity, well, maybe it doesn't have to be that way. Go to QC Kinetics. There's a free consultation. They'll ask you about your situation. They'll give you a look, maybe run the sonogram. They did it on my back. It just took a second. It was no big deal. And they'll figure out if some of this space age technology can work for you. What they have is these regenerative treatments. They take some of your body's own healing properties, concentrate it, and then mass inject it into the spot where you need relief. And it doesn't work for everybody, but finding out if it works for you doesn't cost anything. So call QC Kinetics, 972-972-8610, 972-972-8610. Well, we lost a Texan in the Iran war. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Remember the WBAP morning show from whenever you wake up until Matlock comes on. Or for you third shifters, they come on super duper early. And if you happen to be up that early in the morning, you might want to go ahead and start with them because they're not really competing against a whole lot of other great shows at 5 a.m. Back to the phones we go, talking about the Iran war. Would you trade your kid for Iran not getting a nuclear weapon? I know that's an unfair question. But if so, how many kids are you willing to trade? It better not be infinity. Chris and Keller, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, I was just going to say, a veteran is someone who at some point in time in their life signed a blank check payable to the U.S. government for up to and including their life.
Yes.
I did that after high school, joined the Navy in 2000, ended up doing 3 tours in Iraq post 9/11. And something that a lot of people don't know is that every time a carrier air group goes across the pond, from the East Coast to the Gulf, you'll lose 2 or 3 people just losing them at sea. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying when you join the military, this is reality.
What do you mean, like in training exercises, or someone got their hand caught in the plane elevator or something to that effect?
Oh, everybody goes to bed at night, wake up in the morning, somebody's gone, lost them at sea. It happens.
Oh, you mean they fell off the ship?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That's a great reminder.
Every single time they go over.
Because someone had pointed out, like there had been a strike in Donald Trump's first term where a couple of soldiers had been lost, and someone pointed out that during Donald Trump's first term, we had lost fewer soldiers in Afghanistan. I said the wrong country. In Afghanistan, versus how many were lost in training exercises during Jimmy Carter's administration.
Yeah. I mean, the military, it's a dangerous endeavor. If you're joining, you're signing a blank check up to and including your life. And then just to put on the side there, not that this is a side issue, everything is under the hand of the Creator. Nobody's dying before their due date.
All right. Those are good reminders. Thank you very much, Chris and Keller. Thank you for your service, sir. John in Kemp, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
The nuclear question, whether they have a nuclear bomb or not, is not the main thing to me. The main thing to me is the Christian lives over there that's living in Iran. And I've been praying for those. And first off, I'd like to say for Isabella, I hope that I'm not going to go too religious on you here, but I hope she had accepted Christ as her Savior. If she did, it didn't matter if her parents or whomever had her locked up in the safest place in the world. If the Lord wants us, He's going to take us. Now, if one of my kids or my grandchildren would be now, because all my kids are too old, and I have grandchildren that are actually thinking about going in the military that are 17, 18 years old. And if they want to go, my family, I know that they have accepted Christ as their Savior. Well, it's in God's hands then. And as far as fighting the Muslim folks, I hate it for the Muslim folks because they don't, in my opinion, they don't have a chance anyway. This is not too far removed from World War II to me, as far as good and evil. I think that we're over there for a good reason. Do I like it? No, I don't. I hate it when my friends at work complain about the gas prices and grocery prices and everything. And I'm retired on a fixed budget, so I really don't like it. But if it costs me a little bit out of my back pocket to make sure that Christians are hopefully being helped and saved, so yes, I would let my family go over there, and I would have no remorse about it if the Lord did decide to take them. So that's my take on it.
Wow, you're a good speaker there, John. I appreciate you calling in. I think everyone understood what you said. I have no questions about that. You covered all the bases. Yeah, that's like a good field goal. Garrett asked if you should get some points. I'll give you 3 points on that, John. That's good stuff. Thank you. Let's go to Debbie in Midlothian. And I feel like this is sort of a topic where there are no right answers and there are no wrong answers. It's just what are you willing to sacrifice for the cause? And my threshold's just a lot lower than most people, but I think I'm a lot more selfish than most people. This is Debbie in Midlothian. You're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
James, you know what? When you started out, I misunderstood you also about, no, I'm not sacrificing my son and all this. Well, you know what? I feel like you were being so disrespectful. I pray that the family that lost Isabella is not listening to WBAP, because this is not what they want to hear. Well, I wouldn't sacrifice my child. Well, they didn't want to sacrifice either. But you know what? Is it 1% of the population that signs up? Thank God they do. My son, I didn't have the choice of whether he did or not. He told us that he was thinking about joining the Marines, and he did. He was in Iraq twice. He lost a lot of good buddies, and that was hard. He was injured and had to come back here to get treatment and stuff, and his buddy stayed over there, and he hated them being there and him being home. So, you know, I appreciate everyone that has called and has said that, but it's an honor. It is a true honor to have the military of this country. And you know what? They don't sign up thinking, well, I'm going to sacrifice my friend or I'm going to sacrifice my life for this country. They don't go in thinking that. But you know what? It becomes a reality real fast.
You broken up over there a little bit, Debbie?
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. It's awful. You know what? And that family, we've still got kids that were over there, and they were all like 19, 20 years old. Christopher was 19 when he signed up. But you know what? It was 20 years ago. We still remember Jimmy Houston. We still remember the other ones that were killed over there. So, no, it's not just the family that remembers them years and years afterwards. It's the ones that knew them and that their son was over there with them. So I just feel like it's very disrespectful right now for you to say, I wouldn't donate, I wouldn't, sacrifice my kid. Well, nobody wants to sacrifice their kids for anything. But you know what? Like the gentleman just said, Chris just said, if God calls him home, then that's his business. I don't know his ways. But I mean, that's what we believe, that whenever it's God's day, not our time. It's God's time. And you know what? My son now, he's in the fire department. I've had a husband that was a police officer. I've had a daughter that's a police officer. I didn't want any of them to do that work, Debbie, because it's dangerous.
I hate to interrupt you because you're a great caller. Just chalk it up. Please do me a favor. Chalk it up to me being a selfish dad and not wanting to sacrifice my children, and not in any way disrespectful to the sacrifice that was given by veterans every day, but specifically Isabella. That's definitely not what I meant. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, we're just having a tough conversation about the ultimate sacrifice that was made by one of your neighbors this weekend. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. 3 U.S. service members were killed in Iranian retaliatory strikes over the weekend, one of which was your neighbor. Private Isabella Gonzalez, a 19-year-old from Carrollton, killed in action while serving in the U.S. Army. And I think one of the impasses we have here in the discussion, if you're just joining us, here's the scenario, because some people have been aggressively misinterpreting this. I'm not trying to discourage anyone who wants to serve their country from going over there and fighting. I'm not saying it's an ignoble thing. In fact, just the opposite. I'm saying it's a noble endeavor. It's the most noble death our society offers you, is to die in service of this country. So this is not a disrespect. This is not a slight in any way to service or veterans or active duty or anything like that. This is the scenario. If you are offered a button that says you push this button and Iran will never get a nuclear weapon, but in exchange, one of your children will die, I'm saying I would not push that button. That's all. So, and just to give you an example, people are like, here, Jay sends me a Facebook message. It's like stuff to quantify to anyone who doesn't have the same blood pumping through their veins. Nearly every one of us is excited to serve or have served. We know the possibilities and accept them with pride and honor to be one of the ones selected to serve. It's in our blood. I understand. I'm not saying it's not in your blood. I'm not saying that there's no honor in it. In fact, you know, I had plenty of military recruiters talking to me out in Bucktussle when I was growing up. And I even stopped by a couple of the recruiting offices. One was Marines, one was Army. And I took a test. Was it the ASVAB? Is that what it's called? I'm sorry. I was never in the military, so I don't know all your abbreviations. I know I probably sound silly or effeminate right now. But I don't know if it was the actual test or if it was like a pre-SAT to their test. But I remember he gave it to me and I filled it out in like 4 minutes and turned it in. He goes, no, you need to do all 4 pages. I was like, I did all 4 pages. He's like, you're already finished? I said, yeah. And then he graded it. And I didn't miss one question on it was only a 4-page test. And he goes, well, you'll start a couple ranks up. I'm like, who says I'll start? But I ended up not pulling the trigger. No pun intended. I just wanted to go to college. Wasn't that enthused. We weren't at war with anybody. I didn't foresee being at war with anybody. I kind of wanted to play soccer in college, and I wouldn't get to do that if I had gone into the military. I don't know. I just broke the cycle. Plus, my dad didn't tell me some great stories about war, and my grandfather didn't seem like he was a big fan of going into World War II and getting shot in the face. So maybe we'll just have an artist's son for one generation. Can we just do that? JJ in Decatur, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Yeah, I have two points to make. The second one probably being the bigger of the two. First, I am a veteran, and when you go in the military, I was in mostly during peacetime, so didn't really serve in any wars or anything, but lots of people die in the military just in peacetime and stuff. And anytime somebody dies in any profession, no matter what it is, it's a heartbreaker. And my heart goes out to that family that lost their daughter. However, brings me to my second point. The reason we're over in that area is my belief is that had we had an opportunity to stop the Nazis before World War II, we could have saved thousands and thousands of lives. And I believe that's what we're at in Iran right now. The possibility of saving, if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they will hit Israel, and it will be game on World War III. And I believe.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just in the sake of efficiency here, what are you basing that on? How do you know Iran will hit Israel?
They hate Israel. They said they would. That's their stated mission, is to get Israel, then to get the United States.
Okay. The reason I asked though is because you heard similar things. I heard similar things our entire life about what if Pakistan gets the bomb, or what if North Korea gets the bomb. And so we've had sort of this scare of nuclear proliferation ever since Duck and Cover. And for every country that's eventually acquired nuclear weapons, we've seen no negative consequences of that. So why would Iran be significantly different than a Pakistan?
I believe if Korea had not gotten the nuclear weapon, with the Asian Pacific thing would be a much safer place. I think that
Asia Pacific's totally safe.
I don't know that you could say, I don't know the Japanese believe that or the South Koreans believe that.
Okay. Well, that's
You know.
subjective, so I can't really argue over what whether or not the South Koreans feel safe. But I feel you on that one, JJ. I appreciate it. Just, I would like to reiterate what me saying I would not sacrifice my child for to stop Iran from getting the bomb doesn't mean any disrespect to anyone who served or signed up or any veterans who've ever served. Please don't take it like that. David and Justin, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yes, sir. First off, I'd like to say I think it is tragic that this young soldier lost her life. But I served in starting in 75 to 78, and I was in South Korea when 2 American officers were killed in the DMZ. And though we didn't go to war, we were close to it. And I would just like to say that I was aware then and have made my children aware, if they would ever enlist, that when you take that oath of enlistment, that you're writing a blank check for an amount up to and including your life. And it is tragic that it happens, but when people lose their lives, they usually, it is time that's God is calling them home. So I just think it's tragic, and I just hope that the president can end this campaign with as little loss of life as possible. And I do enjoy your show. I just wanted to thank, I just had to voice my opinion, and I really do thank you for your show and all that you do, sir.
That's so nice of you to say, even though, it sounded like there's a little bit of a disagreement there. You can always call in and push back against me, guys. I'm not going to beat you up. All right. I've got some other people look like they want to give me a talking to on this situation. How about this? That whatever is prosecuted for the rest of the Iran war, the results live up to the honor of the sacrifice that Isabel Gonzalez gave us this weekend. 800-288-9227. More tough conversations about the Iran war coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, welcome back to the James Show. It's a sad day on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. We lost a neighbor in the Iran war. Private Isabella Gonzalez was killed in an airstrike in Jordan. This is on Friday of their local time. So while you were out having fun with your kids or grandkids or spouse or whoever, she made the ultimate sacrifice. And I hope the results of this war lives up and honors the level of sacrifice that she gave to you and me. And I don't want to slight there was 2 other Americans who lost their life over the weekend in the Iranian strikes. And we all know that in any military endeavor, it's ridiculous to expect that 0 people die. But there should be a limit to how many you're okay with in this one. And I think we're probably under that. What do we have, 17 dead? You probably have 17 dead in the military during peacetime over any 4-month span. But my heart goes out to our neighbors here that will have an empty chair at Christmas. And the hypothetical I threw out there that got me in trouble, and I didn't think it would get in trouble. If you're just joining us, tell me if this is reasonable. All I said, this wasn't to demean the service of anybody active or past, is I'm saying if you could give me a button that says push this button and Iran will never get a nuclear weapon, but you'll lose one of your kids, I wouldn't push that button. So I'm not a fan of this war. I hope it goes well. I am rooting for us to win this. Make no mistake. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome here. But let's see what your neighbors say. It hasn't all been positive. Steve in Irving, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, James, man, I've been a fan of yours listening to you for a long time now, and I'm kind of used to your style. I think, well, with my next statement, I hope I'm not wrong. I think that what you've done here is purposely to invoke and make people think about the human aspect of war and sacrifice. And if that was your goal, you've done a great job today, dude. You really have. Like I said, I have a son that's in Fort Hood. He could be called up any time for this so-called war. And there is a human aspect to the service and the sacrifice these men and women make. And that gets overlooked. I hate the term boots on the ground. I hate hearing that. I think it's disrespectful. And I wish people would quit using that term because those are human beings. Those are human lives. There's families that are affected by those soldiers. And when tragedy does happen like that, like so many have said before, this is God's timing, not ours. And this is a wicked world we live in. And they signed up as adults to go face that sacrifice. And it is our job when it does happen to honor them, their service, and who they are and what they did for us, the ultimate sacrifice.
Did you send me an email about an hour ago? Not even an hour ago?
No, I did not.
Well,
I'm
Steve,
driving an 18-wheeler down the road.
So Edward in Bedford just echoed the exact same thing. He sent me an email, james@wbap.com, for those of you who don't have my email address yet. He says, James, it's very frustrating when I hear so many in the media using the term boots on the ground. Isabella Gonzalez was not boots on the ground. She was a human being and a soldier. The boots on the ground term is convenient for the media, but dehumanizing and disrespectful to our military personnel. I agree with both of you. That's, I like that. That does seem to kind of be a reductive term, boots on the ground. Like when they talk about how many people are on an airplane, they're like, there's 215 souls on board. And they say souls, not bodies, not boots. The most important part of our being, our soul. Yeah, that's a good point out there, Steve. I hope I didn't ruin the show for you.
No, man, you're doing a great job. I appreciate you. And God bless her. And I like the guy that's going to try to do the organizing for her when they bring her home. And I just want to say, hey, man, God bless America. God bless our soldiers. And, I'll see you down the road, brother.
God bless the Gonzalez family who gave their daughter so we could all just sit here and discuss this with some hick radio host who just crawled out of a log cabin in East Texas. Tough show, huh? Todd in Fort Worth, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, James, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Go ahead.
I wanted to first start off saying, hey, I'm a military guy. I'm a 21-year Navy veteran. I've been deployed 6 times.
Wow.
So I understand the concept and understand what is asked of me whenever it's time. I get that. And I pray for that little girl's family, and I am thankful for her. for her sacrifice. But I wanted to try to say maybe you should couch your question a little bit differently, because you're saying push the button, one of your kids is going to die.
Yes.
Nobody is going to make anybody go. And no family is going to say, hey, you got to go. That's the way the government's calling you home. Somebody from our family has to go. It's going to be you. It's an all voluntary force. Every one of them are 18 or older, all voluntary. But also, in that voluntary statement, a lot of kids, including myself, when I joined in 1987, I joined the military for something better than what I was living in. Not necessarily because I was in love with my country and I wanted to defend my country and it's honorable and that's what I want to do. A lot of people sign up for the military because it offers a better life than what they're living now. So, or offers a life, I can either go to jail or go to the military. And believe you me, that happens a lot. So I don't know that everybody signs up with a heart that I am going to serve my country because I love this country. I think sometimes they just sign up because that's all they have left to do.
Yeah, and some are doing it for the tuition, or some are doing it so they can be a pilot and get free training instead of paying SFA to train them to be a pilot. But you got to believe that most of them, I mean 99% of them, whether your 100% intentions are pure or not, do have that noble serving spirit. Because, if you're just looking for money or you're just looking for training, you'd probably get a job where they don't. There's a 0% chance you get shot at. All good points, though. Thank you, Todd in Fort Worth. Gary in Mansfield, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Hi. Just a little under 30 years of military service. I have 4 combat tours. I never did get married, never had any kids. Spent all my time in the military. I do have nieces and I do have nephews, and I will do everything in my power to keep them from serving in the U.S. military.
Wow. Explain that.
I have no confidence, zero confidence in the political and the military industrial system of this country, that they would not waste their lives in some foolish little land off somewhere for a political or monetary reason. Sorry, I can't say it. I've lived long enough on this planet and I've seen enough to know that there's little honesty and little honor in the U.S. government, and I would not voluntarily waste the lives of my family members in some dump somewhere.
Gary,
I just can't do it. I've seen too much, and I just can't do it.
Gary, there are people who have echoed your sentiments in history books that I've read, how I don't want to send my kid into the Roman army because it's just going to be used for the political fancies of Pompey or the Great or Crassus or whoever. They said that about Napoleon. They said that about Kaiser Wilhelm. They said that about the Tsar. In fact, that's what the communists were saying. You don't need to want to join the army. Why? So the Tsar can keep his lands? You don't need to join the army. Why? So the king can keep all of his estates. That's a common refrain throughout history, not just the American military. And except for small little uprisings and revolutions like the American Revolution, it's almost impossible to separate politics from the execution of a giant military like that. So, all right, 800-288-9227. Hell, you people on hold, I got to move on, man. I'm getting so bummed out over here. I'm about to go eat some lettuce from Taco Bell. I want to talk about this just lame attempt at a terror attack on an ICE building in New York next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So there was a sort of terror attack. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And no, we're not talking about Taco Bell lettuce. This actually happened at a federal building in New York City where a guy who's already been caught. The headlines were so ridiculous. When you first saw it, it depends if you went to CNN or MSNOW, they were like, someone setting off fireworks near a federal building. If you went to Fox News or any media outlet that's not just built on a throne of lies, they were like, incendiary device ignited at a federal building, which is still kind of misleading because you hear incendiary device. Well, what was it? Was it a Molotov cocktail? Was it C4 explosives? Was it a grenade? Was it a... I don't know what it was, but all you had to do was wait about an hour and someone from some angle had a video and it says kid. And I say kid. It could be someone that's an adult that's just dressed like a kid, but it's also dressed like a kid in like 2002. Looks like he was going to a Limp Bizkit show. He's like wearing really baggy, kind of wide leg jeans, like Jinko looking jeans, and a big dumb sweatshirt. And look, it's 1,000 degrees here, but I guess you can get away with that. If you're in New York, you can still wear jeans and a sweatshirt on a July day, I guess. I don't know. But Home Skillet walks up with a red container of some sort. Now, the container that they make you buy for your lawnmower, that's not what it was, where you turn upside down and then you have to push in the little nozzle there so the gas will come out. It might have just been in an open bucket because he sloshed it all out in one go and then lit it, and it burned but didn't explode. So country people are a little more familiar with this. If you use regular unleaded that you get at the gas station and you try and like just slosh that down some steps next to a federal building and light it, it will explode on you. But this one didn't explode. It did catch fire, and it was a big fire, and it roared pretty hard. So there was a little bit of a bonfire there, but it wasn't an explosion. So now what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it was diesel fuel, which doesn't explode like that. James, how do you know so much about fires? Well, in the country, we play with fire all the time. We're all fire experts out there. Like one of the favorite things you get to do in the country that you don't get to do in the city is blow stuff up. Cameron, when's the last time you blowed something up in the city? Exactly. So me using my white trash experience can already get to the bottom of this mystery. This guy is also probably... I think it's a little white Antifa kid. It's really hard to tell from the surveillance video, and you don't see a whole lot of skin. But you can kind of glean from I don't know, it looks like a kid that shops at Hot Topic. Like, I don't know what print was on the back of his big, baggy black hoodie, but probably Nightmare Before Christmas or something nerdy like that. I mean, the kid looked like a dweeb, and then he tries to take off running, and he's running like an 8-second 40-yard dash. Like, this is the slowest run. It's like, you know, people say, he runs like a girl. No, this was even worse. This is like the first time the kid's ever been running. So I don't take this very serious, except for the fact that you were just being warned about this last week. You probably don't remember this, but there was a speech. I forgot where he was. Marco Rubio was talking about this and the fact that, hey, we've got to talk about lefty violence here. And the reason I pulled this clip before the terror attack happened this morning, because I was already going to tell you, I get a whole lot of people that send me messages and phone calls and Facebook messages that comments where they talk about how, boy, the lefties today, they're just out of control. It didn't used to be this bad, but they've really gone down the woke rabbit hole and they're getting all violent. No, they've always been this way. In fact, they used to be worse. In the 70s, the Weather Underground was worse. In the 20s, the anarchist bombings in New York City were worse. So Marco Rubio talked about that on, I think this was last Thursday.
In one 18-month period between 1971 and 1972, the FBI counted some 2,500 bombings on American soil, a rate of nearly 5 a day. The overwhelming share of that violence came from left-wing extremists, Between 1970 and 1980, 93% of terrorist attacks in the West came from the far extremist left. These are numbers that would shock most Americans today because we've been taught to believe that this kind of political violence, it simply doesn't exist or it's being exaggerated. But it does exist, and we're actually underestimating it. And our nations bear the scars to prove it.
Now, I don't tell you that to say, hey, our guys here, they're so much nicer than they were in the 70s or in the 20s or before that or in some other areas. I'm telling you this to tell you the pendulum is swinging back toward that. You think this is bad. They are capable of so much more. There's a guy named Doug McAdam. In the 70s, he was in the Weather Underground. And when they got a little too scary and violent and bomby, he got out. But later, I believe this was an interview in the 90s. This is either in the 90s or the 2000s, the aughts, where he talked about the last meeting he went to the Weather Underground. This is what scared him off and was like, all right, I'm a lefty, but I ain't that lefty.
I remember going to the last above ground weather. It was the Weatherman or the Weather Underground, the last above ground convention. And sitting in a room, and the question that was debated was it or was it not the duty of every good revolutionary to kill all newborn white babies? And at that point, it seemed like a relevant framing of an issue. The logic being, hey, look, through no fault of their own, these white kids are going to grow up to be part of an oppressive racial establishment internationally. And so really, your duty is to kill newborn white babies. And I remember one guy kind of tentatively and apologetically suggesting that seemed like it may be contradictory to the larger humanitarian aims of the movement and being kind of booed down.
Coming up next, I'm going to tell you everything we've already learned about the kid that did the sort of explosion, I mean, it's a terror attack. It's just really lame and ineffective, but it happened at 8:30 this morning. I'll tell you what we know about him next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, I'm going to tell you everything I know about this sort of bombing suspect in New York. I'm James Parker. You're listening to The James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for the WBAP morning show. Check out the guys whenever you wake up. They're on from 5 to 9 until Matt Locke kicks them out of here. But today was, I don't want to call it a terror attack because that sounds like I'm exaggerating, but that's kind of what it is. Whenever you have, because the definition of terrorism in the modern parlance of our times is an act of violence or intimidation for a political purpose, especially against civilian targets. So this matches all of that. This was an act of violence or at least intimidation for a political purpose against a civilian target. So technically it's terrorism, but it was such a lame attempt. He threw a bunch of gas on the sidewalk next to the federal building in downtown New York City and lit it on fire and tried to run off. He was tackled almost immediately. So let's go through what we know. First off, his name, Andrew Arabica or Arabaca, or what does that mean in English? I don't know. I think that's just a name. So don't ask me. But the sources talking to Fox News and the New York Post have both confirmed that Arabica had anti-ICE stuff on him. That's not me using a very annoying, vague term. I am quoting them. Anti-ICE stuff on them. Now, what does stuff mean? Well, there's a sign. Some people have mentioned an anti-ICE sign, but I don't know what the other stuff could include. But what we have also was 4 people were injured. 3 people refused treatment at the scene and were fine. 1 person was taken to Presbyterian Hospital. I don't know how someone could have gotten hurt in that because no one got hurt in the fire. You can see the fire. We have a whole video of it. But the minor injuries are really the only negative consequence. I don't even think he ruined the paint or a plant or a trash can. He didn't even hurt anything. He just lit some concrete on fire. So I really hope there's no damage. But it was, I mean, seriously, it was just a little fire. There was just a little liquid. Apparently he put some fireworks on top of it. Now I didn't see the fireworks going off. Also, according to the sources here on foxnews.com, the suspect was armed with a pellet gun. What in the hell? What are you going to do with the pellet gun? Get yourself killed? So this is on the building that has ICE facility in there. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani, if you want to, here's his statement on Twitter/X. He said, "What occurred outside 26 Federal Plaza this morning was deeply disturbing. I'm relieved no one was seriously injured and that a suspect is in custody. My team's in touch with the NYPD. We'll support the federal investigation. Our administration will continue to ensure that every New Yorker is safe in their city and hold accountable any who threaten that." Oh, he didn't mention he's a lefty. You didn't mention it was an anti-ICE attack. You didn't. I'm sure you're not going to mention that this was partially motivated by the rhetoric coming from you specifically and your side in generally. But the protective security officer that tackled him, the spokesman for that group, the local security team, they had a really antiseptic reading of their summary, except they used the term anti-ICE in there, which I thought was super important. They said at approximately 8:20 a.m., an anti-ICE rioter launched fireworks outside of 26 Federal Plaza, grazing a bystander and poured what's believed gasoline on the stairs of the entrance building and set it on fire. There you go. One security guard swiftly tackled him, detained the agitator, sustained minor injuries during the incident. They quickly recovered the bag, which contained what appeared to be 2 pellet guns and a manifesto. I do not have the manifesto yet. I might get it before the end of the show. And if I do, I will definitely share it with you, because what we have here is a pattern. And some of us have gotten really good at pattern recognition in our old age, haven't we, fellas? Yes, and pattern recognition sometimes is called hateful. Sometimes it's called terrible or racist or bigoted or whatever. What do you and I call it? Oh, yeah, that's right. We call it the truth. That's what it is. So let's just add it to our list here. We have the list of violence coming from some branch of the liberal tree. And I don't know. I kind of have to segregate this out into 3 different lists because a whole bunch of these are like Muslim themed terror attacks, and they definitely don't have the same means or ends as the Antifa terror attacks, but they are on the same team. So just to give you a quick recap here, we had the Muslim shooter at the Michigan Synagogue. We had the Muslim shooter at Old Dominion University. We had the Trump assassination at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We had the 2 IEDs thrown by ISIS-inspired Muslims at the mayor's mansion in New York City just a couple months ago. We had the mass murder in Austin on 6th Street. We had a couple of mass murders from trans. One's from a hockey arena in Rhode Island. One's from Tumbler Ridge in California. We had the Muslim mass murder Bondi Beach. We had Charlie Kirk's assassination. We had the school shooting at Evergreen, Colorado. We had a shooting ambush at the ICE facility in Dallas. Shooting ambush at the ICE facility in Alvarado. Shooting ambush at the ICE facility in McAllen. Now we have a kind of bombing and firework attack at the ICE facility in New York City. That's not counting the pro-Palestinian blowtorch or the pro-Palestinian murder of the 2 Jews in D.C. or the pro-Palestinian guy running over people on Bourbon Street. That doesn't count all the vandalism of Teslas and the firebombing of their dealerships. The Trump assassination attempt in Florida, Trump assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. We have a real problem here with lefty violence. And the fact that this nerd went out and did this lame attack, it's not necessarily scary in a vacuum on its own, but when you put in the whole, we've got a big problem here because this guy and his little nerd friends run around in their Jinkos and their Hot Topic hoodie. They didn't care about ICE when 54 people died in ICE custody under the Biden administration. They're being trained, they're being propagandized, and they're being brainwashed by media, politicians, academia, their favorite celebrities to do things now. And it's all for politics. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we'll continue talking about this latest terror attack, and AOC has unlocked a new accent. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, Texas homeowners, James Parker here for Blue Ribbon Roofing. We have gotten more bad weather than normal this year, and your roof has taken an absolute beating. If there is any doubts about your roof, call Blue Ribbon Roofing. If you see some roofing signs in your neighborhood, that means some roofers have done some work somewhere around the area. That means your neighborhood has been hit hard enough that someone needed a new roof. That means you might need a new roof. If you see someone getting some roofing work done in your neighborhood, it's a real good sign. You need to go to blueribbondfw.com and schedule your free inspection today. If you have any doubts, get the free inspection. If something needs to be fixed, you will be saving yourself a ton of money and grief by catching it early. But if not, what you're doing is setting a good baseline, because once you have this inspection in the books, whenever you do need a new roof, then the insurance companies will grease the skids, because you can say, yeah, see, it was fine here. I called John Hopkins at Blue Ribbon Roofing back in July of 2026, and it looked great. This is what it looks like now, and it'll help you out in the future. So if you have any doubts, get the free inspection. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Hey there, we're just making fun of a weak sauce attempted terror attack in New York City that failed miserably. I'm James Parker. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Now, I'm not like gloating. I'm not glad this happened. But when you see someone on the other side buy into the propaganda that's just hyperbolic and not truthful and hurtful, so much so that they are going to go ruin their own lives, it's almost like, you know what? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Don't listen to me. Be a dupe. Listen to the people who lied to you about all these other topics. Go do something stupid based on that terrible information and get yourself thrown in jail for something that had no effect on the outside world. If you haven't seen it, some kid dressed up with Antifa, an Antifa manifesto. I haven't seen the manifesto, but he had Antifa gear on him and an anti-ICE sign of some sort. He went and dumped some gasoline at a federal building in New York City, set it on fire. Supposedly there were some fireworks on top of it, but I didn't really see them going off. I mean, he got tackled before he got to the end of the block. I don't even think any property was destroyed. So it was the complete most worthless terror attack possible. But it keeps happening. And we have a problem here because it's all just endemic, completely on one side of the aisle. And you know this is 100% political because there were no ICE terror attacks when 54 people died under ICE custody when Biden was deporting people. There were no ICE terror attacks when Barack Obama was deporting millions of people, more than Trump's deported so far. So this is all being ginned up by anti-ICE hatred that he sees online and in the media. 800-288-9227. Let's talk to John in Kemp. You're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
I think you meant me because it was Keller, but
Keller. Cool, I'll take it. John and Keller.
Okay. Hey, well, how about the mayor? You know, the mayor doesn't manage to mention the fact that those are his supporters that did this, the people that support him, and yet he's talking about going. And the next time Netanyahu comes to New York, maybe possibly arresting him, as a terrorist. And I'm kind of like to see how that would play out because I know Trump has talked about before that naturalized citizens like Madami is from Uganda, they're talking about stripping their nationalized citizenship if they do something like that, something illegal, and deport them. That would be an interesting thing to see try if he tries to arrest Netanyahu and deport Madami back to Uganda.
Oh, dude, why are you soft pedaling this, John and Keller? You are so right. You should amp it up to 11. Not only, well, we should think about revoking his citizenship. No, if I was president, Mamdani's citizenship would have already been revoked. He'd already been deported. I would say anybody who is an Islamist, your citizenship is revoked. Get the hell out of here. Anybody here who's a communist or a socialist, it's revoked. Get the hell out of here. Anybody here who has taken 1 month worth of welfare, your citizenship is revoked. You're out of here. Yeah, I think you're right, but I think you should be a little more bombastic about it, John.
Well, I was trying to be a little less bombastic about it.
Right.
Yes. But I totally agree with what you just said, and I would love to see Trump test it out to see just what he could get done in that regard. And Madami would be the perfect one to start with.
Oh, God, I agree so much. And you can't get accused of racism if you do that because you're necessarily going to deport a whole bunch of white people, too. Then there was another scam that was, and thank you very much, that was busted in New York City. It was a Nick Shirley scam, and they were showing that some of the guys behind one of these, it wasn't hospice. The adult daycare. They had adult daycare, and then there was a pharmacy next to it. And so they were just sharing Medicare information and billing on these patients, the stolen identities. But some of them were from Latvia and Estonia. It's like, good. Look, they're white. Let's get them the hell out of here. We have no qualms about that. No one is saying, well, let's hold on to these guys, because they're white. No, this isn't a race thing. This is a judging somebody by the content of their character thing, not by the color of their skin. And if you're an Islamist, you have failed. If you are a communist, you have failed. If you're a socialist, you have failed. If you come here from the other side of the planet and you get on welfare, that failed. Out. Kendall in Thornsdale. You're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
James, my brother was on UT campus when Whitman was in the tower.
Oh, in the 60s, yeah.
And they also put a wall around UT. See, I turned 18 in 72, and his draft number was 265, and they actually didn't call my number. But what I'm saying to you is, if you protested, which they did back then, because I'm 72, you could lose your financial aid. So that's what I'm saying. And when it came time to register for the service, I told the guy that I had an eye injury. And so I'm saying my mother's family was military. So just keep in mind, being 72, a lot of my mother's family, like one graduated from Tulane with a double E degree. So they actually went into the service, which was better than what they had there in Lee County, but they had no choice.
What did you say the degree was? A double E degree?
Yeah, double E. He took a test at Tulane. He was in the Air Force. And see, he actually graduated from Tulane and ended up working for Exxon.
I hear you.
Mother's family was from Lee County, and one of them landed at Normandy and got out of the Foxhole to smoke a cigarette, the oldest one.
Uh-huh.
They found him bayoneted. Another one was in the service with Rock Hudson at Pearl Harbor. See, they were poor. I'm talking about these are poor people. And one of my great aunt's grandsons was a ranger killed in Afghanistan. So when it came time, when I turned 18 in Milam County, they said, when you country calls, you go. So I was at UT in 72 with Vietnam War. So you have a good day and keep your wife happy.
Oh, look, it's a Miss Parker reference. That is Kendall in Thorndale. Coming up next, you're going to meet a comedian that's coming to town, and he does a brand of comedy that I think is on the ascendancy again. It's not just clean comedy. It's wholesome, positive, clean comedy. And you're going to meet him next. Ryan Hamilton's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Look, I get pitched for guests on this show, and a lot of people want to come on if they're coming to town or they got something to promote. I usually say no. But this next guy, I was pitched him. I was like, Ryan Hamilton, where do I know that name from? And then I typed it in. And it's like, oh, yeah, I've seen this guy all over the place on social media. He's hilarious. So I am here to introduce him to you. Now, Ryan Hamilton is going to be a special animal here because not only is he a comedian, he's a clean comic, but I don't want to take like all the excitement out of it. He's just really good without going into anything dirty, anything offensive. No one's going to get their feelings hurt. No one's going to complain to HR when the show's done. So it's just really hard to find a comedian that everyone could like. I think this is one of the guys. Ryan Hamilton, welcome to the James Show.
That's very nice. Thank you so much.
So how much of this is intentional? Your style of comedy, no cuss words, no dirty topics. You're not insulting half of the country based on their politics. How intentional is that?
I mean, and I don't know. It's kind of just how it comes out of me. From the beginning, the guys that I revered were always kind of working in that world, like Steve Martin, Brian Regan, Jim Gaffigan, Jerry Seinfeld. These were kind of the guys that I enjoyed watching. And it was just like, okay, they've set up some restriction, or I don't know, some barriers, areas that they don't want to go for creative reasons, and it pushes them creatively. And I think that helps me. And I don't know. And then you get to a certain point where you're like 90% something, and then you might as well be 100% something. But I will say that I do I enjoy challenging my audience a little bit. And I think you can have an edge without being dirty. And I think people find it interesting if you're challenging them, and it can be entertaining. And but we put the clean label on it because it's nice to know sometimes people want to bring their kids, or I often get 3 generations at my show, and I think I like that. So
yeah, well, it's
a complicated thing.
The reason I bring it up is because I've noticed some comics that are clean comics, this is how they talk off the stage. And then I've met plenty of comics, and some of them that are clean comics, they cuss like a sailor off stage. They're terrible people. They go back, they do a line of coke, and they're supposed to be clean comics. And so some of them are naturally clean comics. Some of them are putting on an act. But let me play a clip. I know you've heard this because it's you. But for the people listening, I played this last week. Because Ryan Hamilton dragging New Yorkers. Now, this sounds like he's insulting New Yorkers, but if you're funny, you can get away with it. But also because it's true, and he's really kind of insulting himself at the same time. Check this out.
New Yorkers have no clue, Where are you from? Idaho. Why? That's what it feels like. Why? I don't know. That's where I done been born. That's why. That's where God done birthed me. And then they'll try to connect. They go, oh, I know it. You know it? Congratulations. It's a state in your country. You should know it. And then they go, no, I know it. This is what you tell me. It's in the Midwest. No, it isn't. And I know there are people in here right now going, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's how New Yorkers are. I'm from there. I'm telling you, you're wrong. And you're still like, he doesn't get it. You have created geography that does not exist. If you're a New Yorker, it's New York, LA, and the Midwest. That's all there is in your head. It's just... Yeah.
See, Ryan, we get hit with that too because we're from Texas, and I go work in New York. People are like, "Oh, you're from Texas." People call you Tex. It's like, no, we're all Tex. They have no idea what life is like outside of their world.
It's funny. They don't. They'll go to Europe, but they won't go to anywhere else. And yeah, that joke kind of reminds me of the opening of this new special in a way, because I open it with, you're supposed to know who I am, but you don't, and you were brought by people who do know who I am. And so it's a little self-deprecating, but it's also, and then I say I'm supposed to be a social media star, and I'm not. But by the way, so are you. You're supposed to be a social media star too. So, I don't care who you are. You want to be a decent dentist, you better learn to be funny online once in a while. That's just the world we live in. So to me, just listening to that now, I kind of connected the conversation you were having about, It's self-deprecating, but I'm also pushing them a little bit, and I'm challenging them a little bit, and I like that. I think it's not really a question of clean or dirty. It's a question of like, is it provocative and interesting a little bit?
Yeah, and the special he's referring to, it just came out on Netflix in June. It's called This Just Hit Me, Ryan Hamilton's Netflix special. So let's talk about what the comedy world looks like. How many days a year are you on the road?
I mean, you have to actually count this up every year for your taxes, and it's usually about half. Half the days. I mean, now it's a little less. I mean, to be honest, earlier in your career, if you're really working, it's more because you're doing more dates at worse places.
Yeah, smaller dates.
Yeah, and if you're doing bigger dates, then you do kind of less dates in bigger places. But, maybe a little less than half, somewhere between 35 and 50%, I would say.
How do you balance that with the family life?
I don't have a family, so it's real easy.
Oh, well, that's the cheat code right there. I messed up. I have a wife and kids now weighing me down. Real quick, you have a lot of comedy that's centered around you getting hit by a bus, and that kind of sounds like a funny sort of cliche thing to say. But you actually got hit by a bus, and if you're a comedian, you get hit by a bus, does part of you laugh and think, oh, that's kind of funny, I got hit by a bus? That's like going on stage and literally breaking a leg.
Yeah, you're right. It is like that. It was. I knew that was going to be the element of the joke, but I didn't want it to be. I was still embarrassed by it. It wasn't something I really wanted to have to share, but I knew I would have to, and so it became tricky. It was like, how am I going to make this work, palatable, not too dark, and also self-deprecating enough, but self-respecting enough. And it was interesting.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have been as funny if you got hit by a Volkswagen Beetle. So Ryan Hamilton, check out his new Netflix special, This Just Hit Me. It's on Netflix right now. And Ryan, save my number. Give me a call next time you're in town. We'll have you back on.
I'd love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. That's me introducing you to a great new comedian, Ryan Hamilton. Coming up next on The James Show, we're going to play Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive. Today, we're going to be playing for 2 tickets to see Leonard Skinner and Foreigner. If you want those tickets, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, you're just in time for Dead or Alive on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Stick around after Dead or Alive. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She's unlocked a new accent. I'm really excited about unveiling the new accent. But first, we got to give away some tickets. It's Dead or Alive. Thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to today's edition of Dead or Alive. I am your host, James Parker. Today we're playing for 2 tickets to see Lynyrd Skynyrd and Foreigner at Dos Equis Pavilion August 28th. For the rest of us, get tickets and information at livenation.com. Someone's about to get some from old Dead or Alive here. The phones are full, so don't even bother calling. Today's category is comedians. In honor of my last guest, Ryan Hamilton happens to be a comedian. We're just going to continue the comedian theme through Dead or Alive. And we're going to start on the phones with, what is this, all dudes? All guys. Ladies, you're not interested in Lynyrd Skynyrd and or Foreigner? You're not very hot-blooded? Are you being cold as ice? Huh? You see what I did? Do you even notice Foreigner songs if I say the puns? You might have got that one. Okay, good. All right, well, I guess we'll just start with a dude. We usually like to start with women, but Chuck in Ennis, you're first up on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Chuck.
Hello.
Wait, I know a Chuck in Ennis. Is this the Chuck I know in Ennis?
Yes.
No way. You've never called before, have you?
No.
All right, well, now I kind of hope you lose because it's going to look like a setup. All right, let's go for comedians here, Chuck. Number 1. George Carlin, dead or alive?
Dead.
Eddie Murphy, dead or alive?
Alive.
Richard Pryor, dead or alive?
Dead.
Steve Martin, dead or alive?
Alive.
Robin Williams, dead or alive?
Dead.
Your favorite comedian, Chuck, Bill Cosby, dead or alive?
Alive.
He's 89 years old. You know, like only the good die young. Bill Cosby's 89. Gallagher, the watermelon smashing fella, is he dead or alive?
Ooh. I'm going to go with alive.
Nope, Gallagher died in 2022. Tell Katie I said hi.
Will do.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we're not best friends. He just married a friend of mine from childhood and I don't know, whatever. This is Steve and Justin. You're next up on Dead or Alive. You ready?
Dude number 2, let's go.
All right, dude number 2. You only got 3 comedians left, so you're in a good spot. Norm Macdonald.
Chuck did a good job.
Yeah, Chuck.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. Norm Macdonald, dead or alive?
Alive.
Norm Macdonald died last year. Damn it. Steve, dude. You didn't even get one right.
That's terrible.
Well, you don't deserve the tickets. Try again next week. All right, Gary in Austin. You ready?
Howdy.
Are you in Austin? Are you?
You left. I'm really in Austin, yeah.
Okay.
I'm for your show over all the Austin shows, though.
Oh, well, turn me up and just horrify all your neighbors real quick.
I can't do that right now, can I?
That'd be dangerous. Carol Burnett, dead or alive?
She's alive.
How did you know that?
She's a fan. She's hilarious.
Isn't she? Man,
She is.
I liked her when I was a little kid because my grandma liked her. Yeah, and she was born in San Antonio. Right, Garrett got that one too. She's a Texan. No, she's hilarious.
I can still see the curtain rod as her dress or whatever it was.
All right, well, Gary, you only got one more to win the tickets to see Skynyrd and Foreigner. Bernie Mac, dead or alive? Bernie Mac.
He's dead.
Yeah, he is. He died at 50. He was so funny. Everything he did was funny, and he died at 50. All right, well, congratulations, Gary, down in Austin. I guess you're listening online?
I'm actually got it on the car as I drive.
Oh, wow, you must have a really good antenna. Well, congratulations, Gary. You have won 2 tickets to see Lynyrd Skynyrd and Foreigner. They will be at Dos Equis Pavilion August 28th. For the rest of us, we got to go get tickets and information at livenation.com. But Gary and Austin just won on today's edition of Dead or Alive. All right, stick with us, and you're going to hear the new accent that AOC unlocked, just like all the cool kids. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, homeowners, James Parker here for Rhino Shield. You know, you might have the nappiest, oldest, most busted up looking house on the block, but I bet if you call Rhino Shield, we might be able to make that thing the nicest house on the block. Because I talk about the technology and the nanoparticles and the block and the UV rays and energy costs and whatever. But here's the thing you really care about and your wife really cares about. It looks great. It can do all the colors, whatever color you want. They can do it. But it also, like, just because it's thick, don't think it's going to look like some sort of bed liner on your house or look like the inside of a freezer with all the ice forming on it. No. It keeps the surface texture of whatever it's on. So it doesn't matter if it's aluminum, if it's steel, if it's stucco, if it's brick, if it's hardy board, whatever you got going on behind, it won't change the surface texture just because it's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint. So it looks great. It doesn't have like any kind of weird texture. It really is as beautiful as paint can be, but also does all the things that paint can't. If you're worried about the cost, stop worrying about it right now. They can put it on a low monthly payment, so it'll actually be easier for you to afford than paint anyway. But it all starts with you getting the free consultation. Go to rhinoshieldDFW.com. All right, we're going to have fun this last segment. I got two funny things to throw at you. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. First off, I was just checking, before we got out of here, I want to see if there was any updates on the kind of terror attack in New York City today where some dude threw a gas can at a ICE office and set it on fire, and it didn't really hurt anything. But in the caption here, the FBI is giving a press conference. Now, this was after the James Show had started. But the caption says, New York City suspect had 2 axes, a hammer, and a machete. What are you doing? You're going to be clearing some forest? Is that what you're doing? You making a bike path? Is that what you going camping? Is that what you're doing? I'd laugh because I don't. If you were going to do a terror attack, wouldn't you take, like, I don't know, maybe a gun or something, or an actual bomb? This guy had a gas can, axes, hammer, and a machete. Like, are you anti-ICE, anti-government, or are you anti-Oak Tree? Anyway, the comments aren't much better. Listen to this.
On his cart, he had a cart. He had anti-ICE literature on it. When he was being arrested, he yelled derogatory terms to ICE, used bad words, obviously. He is an anti-American, anti-government extremist. We know that from what he said. We know that from what he has said post-arrest. And we know that from what his actions that he tried to take today. We take the...
Yeah, so he's being labeled as a far left terrorist. Excuse me. None of his positions are out of the mainstream of what the mayor in New York City believes right now. He's not anti-government. He's anti-ICE. He loves government. Mamdani's not anti-government. He's a socialist. He wants to socialize medicine and socialize everything. You want to give more power to the system. You're not anti-government. You're just anti-enforcement of the laws that diminish the power of your preferred political party, maybe. But yeah, he's not a far lefty. Give me a position that he holds that Zoran Mamdani doesn't hold right now, and then we can have that discussion. All right, now here's what I originally wanted to bring you. AOC unlocked a new accent. Now, there's 2 AOC clips. First, let's go to the one where she goes to the South and she does what Hillary Clinton does. All of a sudden, she's not a uppity little girl from the Bronx. She's all tough, Jenny from the block. No, she's one of us. She's a Southerner.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind.
What is that? South Carolina behind.
South Carolina behind.
What is that? That is not a New York accent. And she went to college in Boston. Really? Is that how Jenny from the block sounds? And then there was another one, the other clip I have that was being passed around this weekend where she was talking in English, and then she did the thing that they do on the news sometimes where if it's a Hispanic name or a Hispanic word, they will say it in a completely Spanish accent, which is very off-putting. It's like, are you speaking English? Because if you're speaking English, the name is Gonzalez. If you're in the middle of a Spanish sentence and you say Gonzalez, people aren't going to say anything. But when you mix the two, it gets kind of weird. So she did the thing.
His same ICE agency that has shot Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, and Johan Sebastian Duran Guerrero.
Oh, yeah. Roll that R real hard. A lot of people were pointing it out that was a Saturday Night Live skit from the early 90s. I don't know if you saw the skit, but I can play it for you real quick. They're just sitting in an office meeting talking normal until a Spanish word comes up, and then they crush the accent.
I think Nicaragua is important. And not just Nicaragua, but also Honduras, and especially El Salvador.
But wasn't the big story the defeat of Ortega and the fall of the Sandinistas?
Excuse me, everybody. I'd like you to meet our new economics correspondent, Antonio Mendoza.
Well, or Antonio Mendoza.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Antonio.
She did the thing. She did the thing. That's exactly what she did. Here, let me play it again.
His same ICE agency that has shot Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, and Johan Sebastian Duran Guerrero.
Yeah. That is hilarious. Well, they have to play the game because one of the other viral piece of politics here in Texas over the weekend was Tallarico got heckled at some event. Now, they said it was a black event, but when I looked at the video, maybe half of the people in the room were black. So I don't know if it was black theme or it just happened to be in a black area of Houston or whatever, but he was getting heckled at it. Check this out.
So you stay here, you answer our questions, or you suffer the consequences.
So I'm happy to engage. We'll come to here in just a second. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you traveling in, and I appreciate
I did it
you.
for my people, not for you.
Wonderful. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. And it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. This is what this conversation's supposed to be about. Yeah. So.
All right, and also passed along with that viral video. This is. I'm told by someone commenting that this was the lady that heckled him, but they don't look like the same person. But she's still addressing Tallarico, so it might be the same person. I don't think it is, but it fits in with this conversation here. When you stick out a little beta male, pencil neck, white geek like Tallarico and kind of has the feminine, the latent gay vibes, and that hasn't worked well with the black voter in America on Team Blue or Team Red. And so if this is the mindset coming out of these meetings, Tallarico is cooked.
But for us real black folks, everyday black people, we're going to sit this out. We're going to undervote your ass, James Tallarico, because I know civics. You talking all that fly ass, I know civics. And what I know for a damn fact is we've survived Ken Paxton as the AG. Moving that down the road to the Senate decreases his ability to terrorize and torture black Texas voters and Texas children.
All right. So if Tallarico does not have the black vote, there is a 0% chance he can win Texas. I'll probably have a little bit more on that for you tomorrow as well. I also know in tomorrow's show, you're going to hear Sonny Hostin try and play your privilege card. It's going to be delicious. So come on back. In the meantime, if you need more James Show action, go check out the podcast. And Mark Levin's coming up next. This has been The James Show. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.